WestCoastNFL. Gonna go through how to set the difficulty for the AI, make competitive races, and have a good time at the same time. And it'll give the game a lot of replayability. So we'll jump right in. So the idea is to be within a second of your teammate. You ideally want to pick a mid-car team. And you know what? Let's go with the pink Mercedes. And you want to go to Spanish Grand Prix. Don't want any practice, don't need any of that. You just want to do short quali. Hey, what's up? So you started off at 20%, run your normal settings, put the time of day to clear for the weather, and you jump in and you get going. So what you do is you do one lap, you do your first lap, you pull into the pits, and then you go back out and you do a couple of laps. I mean, at the very beginning, you're only going to end up doing probably one lap because you're going to obviously be way ahead of the AI anyways. You know, the default setting is at 20, so we'll go from here. Again, too, the other thing is you don't want to adjust your settings for anything. You just want to run a stock, the base middle setting. So don't even bother going anything to do with your setup. This is just purely to set the AI to, you know, a challenging level. You know, I mean, granted, going out with, you know, this car here, you don't have to, I mean, if you want, you can drive out and do your thing and all that stuff. So at 20, at the default setting, the AI is going to obviously be slow. You're going to be way quicker than them. And you're only racing your teammate as well. You're not racing Hamilton and Bottas or Verstappen or anything like that. You're purely racing your teammate. I'll be the first to admit, Spain is not one of my favorite tracks. So, not a great time, but a 121. I mean, I can pretty much skip the session and be at least a couple of seconds ahead of everybody else. So, for every second that you're ahead of your teammate, you want to add 10 points to the AI difficulty, or subtract 10 points. I mean, if you're just starting out, you know, and you just got a wheel or something, or you only have a controller, or whatever the situation is, or you're just new to F1 games and driving without assists, or whichever, you know, I mean, you might need to turn it down from the stock 20, right? So Now really what you could do is after you do that first hot lap, just hit the pause button and go right back into the garage and restart the race, or go back out again, right? As opposed to, you know, doing what I'm doing where I'm wasting time driving into the pit. Whatever. It's just, you know, whatever. It's just something I do. I don't know. Alright, so take a look at the session.
Our best lap so
Scroll
far
over the times.
is a 1:21.4.
So we're going for Lance Stroll here. We've got to wait for him to do a time. I don't need to do a whole bunch of laps because I know I'm going to be a few seconds ahead of him anyway. So now remember, it's only a stock setup and it's not the proper setup for Spain whatsoever. You know, I mean, you got way too much wing, my opinion, but whatever, right? I mean, so just looking at it here,
ready
I'm
for tomorrow's
4
race.
seconds.
Before we begin,
right,
let's have a quick look at those
just
who will be
on,
fronting the grid. Perez, Verstappen and Lewis
just
Hamilton.
on a, you know,
With qualifying complete, all that remains is the main event.
just
We'll
one
be
lap,
live
right?
and
So
uninterrupted for the
I'll just
Grand
kick
Prix
out of
tomorrow.
this because I had it set to 20 for the default, so that was 4 seconds, so I want to put it up to at least 60. That'll get me a little closer. Now again, like I say, you go out and you do one lap, you go back into the pits right away, and then after that, you go out and you continue doing laps so that you get familiar with that kind of base setup, and, you know, so you can, you know, get that little bit extra out of this corner or that corner, you know, over, you know, 5 or 6 laps. Because once you go back out again, you just stay out and do, you know, 5 or 6 laps for the rest of the 18 minutes, right? So I'm going to start a new Grand Prix. I'll just pick the same team again because why not? It's again the pink Merc. So we'll go back to Spain. Again, don't worry about practice. Qualifying short. I always put it to 25 for whatever reason, just because it adds the formation, safety car, all the other kind of stuff. I don't know. I think if you race on the 5 laps to 3 lap thing, you don't get the full experience of the possibilities of what can happen in a race, right? So I need to put it up to 60 here to, you know, see how close we are. And again, I mean, this is racing a base setup, right? So I mean, I know I'm going to be quicker running, you know, my own setup and tweaking my own setup and running a practice session, and, you know, I mean, everybody's going to be, you know, probably a second quicker, you know, maybe 2, you know, depending on, you know, what car you're picking and everything else. So again, run through everything else again. And I like the damage on simulation, by the way. Doesn't seem to be very many failures. I haven't had many failures so far. I've had a few flat tires from lockups and doing burnouts, but besides that. And then too, I like the not having the pit lane monitored, you know, all that other kind of stuff. And then too, even the pit release, it's kind of nice to have to hit the clutch while you're, you know, in the middle of a race for a, you know, 2.5 second pit stop, you know, just keeps it interesting. All right, so again, put the weather to clear. Scroll back short, we bumped it up 40 points because we were 4 seconds ahead. Then we'll start it up again. So I'll probably put it up to 70, 80, somewhere in there. And that's, again, just with the stock setup, right? So, you know, like I say, you run a Merc, or, and I mean, even the Ferrari in F1 2020. It's not like the actual Ferrari. It's actually quick. And the Red Bull's quick too, right? Speaking of which, I'm drinking the coconut flavored Red Bull right now with a little Alberta Pure vodka. Since it's a long weekend and I don't want to, get a ticket in the old S550 GT, because I went out earlier today and I tell you, man, my radar detector was screaming KA band radar all over town. It must have been hit 8 times driving across town and back. So, although on the other hand, on Monday, I did have the Mustang doing 273k. So that's good. I was only at about 4,700 RPM in 6th gear, so I figure I might be able to get 180 miles an hour out of that. Just might, I mean, I've got stage 2 power pack, full catback exhaust. So cold air intake, GT350 throttle body in there. Running 94 octane as well. But yeah, I mean, I swear, it's got to be 175 at least. There's at least another 5 to 10 miles an hour in the car.
There's a few cars out on the track. Perhaps we should get out there
with
before
about
it gets busy.
60 horse and about 50-60 or foot-pounds of torque increase for the cars. So I'm just under 500 horse and both 450, 460 for torque or whatever. So to the rear wheels off the dyno there, horsepower is 437 is the actual output to the wheels.
The forecast is good for this session.
And my torque is 425 to the wheels. So, I lose a little bit in the transmission and linkage and the axles and stuff, but still. All right, I've wasted too much time here anyway, so it's that vodka and Red Bull, which I've got more Red Bull unopened. By the way, this is a cat post that I built for the cats. I don't know, like 8 years ago, I think, somewhere around there, and they love this thing. Yeah, I got the 46-inch TV sitting right on the end, and it's about 3 feet away from me. And here's some Alberta Pure that's helping me along with my journey in the video. So I hope you enjoy. All right, so let's get to it. Again, like I say, leave your settings to the stock settings. I'm still getting used to this G29 wheel. I ran the what was it? Thrustmaster T300 RS. I ran that for, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, something like that. I don't know, I liked it because it was quiet. I could race it at night. Didn't make too much noise. I mean, I like the G29. I had G27, but the G29, I like the helical gears because it's a solid grip when it's thrusting away. So, for the feedback and stuff, right? Shouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have done that if it was my team car. Actually, whoops, didn't mean to do that. So I'm just gonna jump into preferences here, just to show what we're doing. I've got the vibration and feedback 150 wheel damper there. No point in going more than 360 even though the wheel's 1080. F1 car doesn't spin their wheel around. MDF shortcuts, basic ones for the G29. I mean, your plus and minus button for your fuel, that's a good one. Your ERS mode, increase or decrease, I have that on the rotator. And then the center button for that rotator is actually my activation for my deploy for that DRS is L3, and my pit lane entry is R3. So it's my pit limiter. So it makes it pretty easy. So I don't have to look down at the wheel. I can pretty much just do the stuff without having to look down. So something to think about, you know, if you've got a G29 wheel or whatever. Like I say, the Thrustmaster had buttons and stuff, but it didn't have the dedicated up and down, and it didn't have the rotator with the center button, which actually for games like Project Cars and stuff like that make it pretty sweet to, you know, shut your car off, or Assetto Corsa, you know, shut your car off, turn the ignition off, you know, and you hit the button, turn your car on. I think Gran Turismo 5 did it too. I don't know. I played like hardly any Turismo sport at all. I don't know. They've just been. I'm just so disappointed in that game because it's like the same shit, different version. It's just. I don't know. I mean, at least with F1, it's progressed over the years, and you know, haters are gonna hate the F1 shit, but you know what? Open wheel racing is the best racing that there is for, you know, challenging yourself, being consistent, and you know, putting in good quality laps over and over and over again. Not being that flash in the pan that can do one quick lap, you know, one day, you know, and you know, most of the other time it's, you know, wreckers or checkers, right? Like, no. So, just wanted to throw that out there about that, right? So, because I've had some vodka and other, I'm kind of fucking around, but nonetheless. And the other reason too they want me to do this in quality is because your fuel mode is at max for quality. You know, the party mode that they've since banned. Whoops. That's fine. Well, that just cooked up that set of tires. Not too bad. Brought them up. They're still climbing. Damn vodka.
There's only one lap of fuel remaining.
keep doing that. Alright, so. Frick. I keep hitting the wrong button. There we go. Return to garage. Alright, so we got a 120. Alright, so let's see where Mr. Stroll is.
So far, our fastest lap is a 1 minute 20.9.
So, I mean, I know I can get that, you know. I know I can get that down in the low 20, maybe a 19 in this car with this setup. So, more than likely, I'm probably going to add about 10 more, because if I stay at this, I mean, I'll just pass everybody no problem. So, right? I mean, even here it's saying that, you know, I'm like a 119.5, right? So I don't know if that's for, usually that theoretical session best is for, well, I guess they're gonna call it for Hamilton, whatever. Regardless, so at least the AI is going to drive a lot quicker through the corner. So at the same time too, if you're having any trouble with stuff, you can always go into practice mode and click on a car, you know, that, you know, you see Hamilton or Verstappen or Bottas go out, or, you know, the Ferraris go out. You watch this view and see what gear they're in for the different corners. If, you know, if you're losing speed somewhere and you're just not, you know, not as quick, take a look at theirs, because they do help. I mean, you know, I mean, you can watch the same view and they'll do the same shit on you know, easy difficulty, right? But the only problem is running on the easy difficulty like that, they're gonna extra brake or lift or not get back on the throttle for a longer period of time, or do an extra downshift. And then congrats to Hamilton today. They're doing the fastest ever lap in Formula One history. The fastest ever lap. His average speed was like 260 kilometers an hour average for the whole freaking lap of Monza. Just insane. That dude is just a beast, man. I got handed to that guy, man. He was a freaking phenom when he came onto the scene. I mean, didn't he have like a second place his first race? Like, dude's been a superstar from day one, right? Regardless of whatever's going on off the track, whatever. But for the on-track shit, there's nobody better in the world right now. You know? Hands down. He's got Shumi on his right shoulder, giving him a hand. Because the way I saw him drive today in Monza, that was like a Shumi setup he had on the car, where it was like all to do with the front end and the point in and the bite. And I've started noticing that more this year with F1, because I've got the, you know, F1 TV full thing or whatever, right? The premium. So, you know, I'll watch F3, F2, you know, shit, I'll even watch Porsche Super Cup, right? But, you know, it's just more people running on a track, you know. It's, I mean, if you enjoy racing and stuff like that, then, I mean, you know, seeing other racing and stuff, I mean, you still analyze what you're seeing, you know. I mean, if you see somebody driving faster than You know, you think normally it's like, okay, what are they doing? You know, like you start watching a little closer on stuff, right? But like, see that little lift there? Like, see, that's where we're, you know, off that little bit. So, you know, I mean, certain tracks, yeah, I'll race on ultimate difficulty, right? Because I mean, I've tweaked the setup, right? I mean, at the same time, you've got to remember when these guys for F1 go to these different tracks, it's not like they're starting off from frickin' scratch, you know, unless it's a brand new track. That's the only time they're starting from scratch, and even then, they've got something that they're referring to, and that they've used simulators to figure out what their setup is, right? So it's, you know, kind of one of those things. So I mean, even with this, I did one lap. I did a couple of crappy laps where I screwed up and shit because, you know, I'm having a drink or two.
In the speed trap, 325.6
yeah, that's because I'm running a
hour.
ridiculous amount of downforce because I've got this stock frickin' setup. Like, parc ferme, let's view what it is. Like, this is stock. Like, it's the stock setup for the track. Right?
So far, our fastest lap is a 1:20.9.
Personally, I always thought the stock setup used to be like 6 and 6. That's what it used to be for like back in like 2010 to 2015 or whatever. Like the stock setups were just 6s for everything.
And with qualifying complete, let's review our top 3 today. Hamilton, Verstappen,
and I used to wonder,
and
like,
Valtteri
how in the
Bottas.
frick does a
Well, that
freaking
wraps
car
up
get around
qualifying,
running?
but don't
you know,
worry, we'll be back tomorrow as we head into the Grand
those
Prix.
crappy setups like that, right? Like with the 6s all the way up and down. But you know, yeah. Again, don't mind me. It's like I've got the air conditioner on. I got a fan blowing in here, but it's living in the Okanagan here. We've got a good 34-degree day outside there, 35 degrees. So it's a little roasty in the old game room here. So, all right. So back to a Grand Prix. Restart it. Pick a team again. Perez, because I don't think Lance Stroll should be in F1. That's just personal opinion, even though I'm a fucking Canadian. Like, whatever. So we'll go up to 70. And realistically, you know, like with setups and stuff like that, you're up into the 80, 90s. You know, 80, you know, 80 to 100. You know, if you got a track that's like your favorite track and you like tweak that setup and everything else, you know, I'll go to 75 because that's my number in my team and that I race on everything. But I do this stuff so it's like real F1, right? Like, because these safety cars off because the weekend structure is too short. So that's why, like I say put it to 25 so you're not restricting anything that would normally come on, you know? So it's giving you a true idea. There we go. See, I'm already slurring my words. Fuck, like I say, it's fucking hot out. I've had 2 or 3, but frick, it's just warm today. I'm cooking. Frickin' was out in the GT earlier today there. Like I said, was hitting all those frickin' radar traps all over the place. K40 was just going off the hook with KA band, from anywhere from like 6 to 9 for KA band. Everywhere I look, there's a frickin' cop sitting at one side road, another side road, another side road. You know, but hey, I've had the GT for 2 years and just knocked on a 2x4 that this is mounted onto because I still haven't got a ticket. So again, we're back to this with car setup. I don't know why I'm accelerating time. Didn't mean to, but I'm running
If you
default
want to know
setup 3.
specific information or make certain changes to the car during a pit stop, you can tell me what you
So
want over the radio.
we'll
Press
do
and
one
hold
lap,
the
and
radio
then
button.
we'll go back into the pits and finish up laps till the end of the session. Do you want to roll one, Dave?